Our next speaker would be William Porter. Bill is the VP of Marketing at Kingsoft, and he will talk about keeping your enterprise products relevant in the new shared economy world. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you, Sean. Is this on? Okay. Thank you. And I'm standing between everyone in a coffee break, so I will try to keep this as short as possible. So as Sean mentioned, my name is Bill Porter. I'm the VP of Marketing at Kingsoft. Also have another startup that I'll get into in a minute. But I'm really excited about this topic. It'll show in a minute. But basically taking enterprise products and enterprise companies and pushing them a little bit into this kind of the shared economy. And let me tell a little bit of a story here before I get into this. So I flew in from the Bay Area, from San Francisco, so if I'm a little bit tired, it was a long flight. But I got to the airport, my brother drove me, and I owe him a bottle of wine, so I didn't have to take my wallet for that. Then I got in, I used my passport to get to my boarding pass, and I went through the Clear Card program, and they allow you to buy your breakfast right there. So I bought my breakfast, again, not having to take out my wallet. Got on the airplane, took the flight over, got here after a couple missed connections. So if anyone here from United Customer Service, I'll talk to you after. Then got here, took an Uber from the airport, again, not having to take out my wallet. The first time I actually had to take out my wallet for that entire trip was at the Marriott front desk to check into my room. So I think that in and of itself is pretty impressive. I mean, the fact that I did not have to use any cash interactions, any credit card, all the way for that entire flight, that entire trip, it kind of shows the evolution of where we're headed in terms of what to expect with technology. So, just the business is done as fast, or changes as fast as technology. And let me give you an example: email. I hate email, and I think everyone here does as well. I remember specifically starting a PR job in 2003 and knowing who was busy and who was not, because you'd ask the very basic question. You'd say, what are you working on? And someone would say, oh, I have this client and this and that, and I've got all these things I'm doing. I've got this press event that I need to launch. You'd ask that same question to somebody else and say, well, I've got about 1,000 emails I need to read. So it didn't quite work in terms of how you were functioning and how you work. So now when I start working and I work with Teams, we work with Slack, we work with WeChat, we work with a lot of the collaborative tools because it's where we are, it's where we need to be. It's richer. You're allowed to upload and use multiple forms of content, videos, pictures. You're not worried about the size of the images. There's a lot of things that go into it. But again, no email. So it's different, and it's changing the business landscape, and it's really helping, I think, come together and go beyond the original concept of not using using technology for technology's sake. So back in 2006, just to kind of set the sketch. So this is what technology looked like in 2006. I don't know if anyone remembers any of these. A camera, you've got the non-smartphone, so the flip phone, the fax machine, and your lovely desktop computer. So none of these things, really connected to the internet well, connected to each other well, and connected to ultimately the economy very well. I mean, you could start buying things on the web with the desktop computer, but that was wonky. It took a little time. So now we kind of step up and we go into kind of 2015. And here's obviously some of the devices now that rule our world. We've got the smartphones, which the first iPhone and Androids were really out in 2007 and really took off. And I kind of saw that firsthand, and let me tell you a bit about that. So I was running an audio ad network around 2013 when a lot of the mobile apps started taking shape, taking form. And one of our clients was Fandango. So Fandango put out a mobile app, and it was intriguing. We were fine with that, but we still got enough call volume in, and we got enough ad revenue. And then more and more over the months, people started buying their tickets on the Fandango mobile app. We were kind of thinking, okay, well, we've got to get a handle on this. Nobody's using the traditional way of actually buying tickets, calling Mr. Movie Phone, calling Fandango. So that essentially over the year, the call volume completely declined, and it opened our eyes. So we said, okay, well, we need to keep up. We need to start creating these mobile apps. So we actually, at that company, did a couple of pivots and created a couple of mobile apps, mostly around the shared economy, again, around connecting people for memorable experiences. So the first app that we launched was an app called Rave, which really helped find and share restaurant recommendations. Now that was something that ended up getting spun off, but again, it's the mindset of, okay, how do I take an existing enterprise product or company, and how do I change it to keep up with the pace of business? So that, just to kind of drive that point home, this is how many connected devices there are in the world right now, 18.9 billion, and a bit of a local plug here, number 12 is actually Sao Paulo, and we've got about 10 million connected devices here. Now that's huge. That's people connected with people right now that never were before. The fact that I could go out and I could get a car ride, I could go out and get some food, again, without taking out my wallet, without taking out that credit card, without having to worry about trying fumbling around and pay for cash or pay with cash. That's really where we're headed. So let me kind of share a bit about WPS Office, Kingsoft Office, and what we did and how we kind of kept up with the curve. So, basically what we were a PC product. We were primarily in China. We had a very dedicated, loyal, big user base. But we saw that everyone was moving to mobile. So how do we keep up? So what we did was we started with a very simple problem, which was, okay, where do we go? How do we get ahead of mobile? So the solution was we designed our first mobile platform, mobile app for Android and iOS. We added some features, again, just they're very simple. We added the ability to share, to collaborate, but also kept your footprint very small and kept the product very useful. Now, in terms of a platform, the one thing that we did as well is instead of just building our own thing, asking people to download it and use something else, we went ahead and we collaborated with Dropbox, DocuSign, Box.net. So these bigger players in the space that already had an understanding of what to do and how to do it. So that also kept it completely free. That's another big thing with mobile. So basically what happened through that is in 2011 we launched the app. In 2015 we got Google Editor's Choice Award. And as of now, we're about 160 million active users globally. And you can kind of see in Brazil, 415,000, in the US, 620,000. So it's spread across the globe pretty evenly. And the whole concept, and again, why we started moving there and went this route is to get into the hands of people where they're doing business and how they're doing business. This is the other company that I'm working on, and this is specifically in the shared economy. So, what we're doing is we're going beyond social media. We're allowing users to connect with other users. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a car. It doesn't have to be at an Airbnb, so renting out a room. We're allowing people to connect and give local tours. We're allowing people to connect and really share experiences, whether it's giving tips about where to go or what to do nearby. It's having someone who wants to really explore and go beyond being a tourist and actually be a local for a day. We want them to be able to purchase services and goods from other users on the platform. So make a transaction very much like a Venmo process where you can discover, also as well pay. Then the one part too that the shared economy still needs to work on is safety. We want to make sure that when we are rolling out a product, that the users are comfortable and basically are able to feel very comfortable with the person they're with, as well as who they're seeing in the discovery process. So really, what now? And I'm going to give a couple tricks and tips from what I've learned. One is don't limit your design to your current technology. And one who does it really, really well is Pandora. They started mostly on the desktop. They started as streaming from your headphones while you're working. They adopted over time. Now they have a mobile app that is, I think, it's most of their ad plays, most of their streaming, as well as now an iWatch app, which is I haven't used it, but I heard it's pretty good. So basically, the next rule is adopt new platforms. Don't just adopt platforms because you can. So I'll give you an example. The larger iPad. I had a discussion with a couple of our engineers about, well, the new iPad's out, so we should design for it. Well, yes and no. Are people going to be traveling with iPads, these big iPads, and connecting with people the same way they're doing with their phone? We don't know yet. So I'd say hold off on connecting or trying to get new technology and building for new technology until you know that it's a kind of a proven thing. And the other one too is to create a global strategy and not just kind of have it be an add-on. I've seen this a lot where everyone says, oh, we have to go global, and I think the most relevant example right now is Facebook. I think they had something in their headquarters where they said, okay, we're going to take all of our employees and we're going to say you need to use Android and you need to use 2G for a day, and really you need to understand what the markets are like. And they got a lot of pushback. Originally it was like, oh, this is a great idea, but it got a lot of pushback because it didn't hit home with what the use case was, which was everyday life for somebody. It was a kind of a novelty thing of, oh, go down to 2G and see how fast you could load Facebook. So just a couple quick examples. So some things to do, create a simple and easy to navigate software. With WPS, it was very basic. It was a word processor, it was an Excel spreadsheet to start. And we grew off of it. We added collaborated sharing. We added things that users wanted, that users needed. We added the ability to plug in all of your cloud-based storage systems. So again, start basic, build around what your customers need. Allow users to dictate what and when to expand. And then explore markets and talk to your customers. Get out there. The fact that you don't have to take your credit card out for a flight all the way to Sao Paulo, go explore. Go to where your customers are and learn from where they are. Don't pretend to load up a phone and say that this is how the experience is going to be. So I wanted to keep it short again because of the coffee break, but I also wanted to field any questions. This is my contact information. If anyone wants to get a hold of me, feel free to call me. That's my Twitter handle. Again, not very big on email, but I will respond. But this is me. Thank you. Any questions? I did leave time for some questions. Coffee it is.